Hello, hello, hello. This is Danielle here at Black Healing Matters with yet another idea to hopefully put you one step closer to your healing. And so today, what I would like to put out there is a very simple idea, and that's this. Racism is stressful. And I say that with all seriousness because some of us, again, I'm talking about us, Black folks. We see what happens, and as far as racism, sometimes we see that it's more of a class issue, meaning that if you're poor, or if you go to a certain type of school, or if you work with certain types of people or in a certain type of industry, then you might be more prone to racism than others. And furthermore, if you have a lot of money, or if you are very successful in your career, then that somehow makes you immune to racism, as though racism can't really affect you. And I believe that comes from many of us having very limited access to real economic and social power, and not understanding that those people at all levels, Black people at all levels, experience racism, as we are slowly but surely starting to see now. And so a friend of mine, shout out to Jamia from the I Love Storytime podcast, whoop whoop. She sent me this video of, I believe it was Gabrielle Union, and she was speaking about the disparities in pay and budgets between Black movies and non-Black movies. And when listening to this, it really drove home this idea that not only is racism very stressful, which you could tell by her demeanor and her delivery that she was stressed about this, and that she was not happy about it. And if you know Gabrielle Union, she's one of the top Black actresses in Hollywood, and has been for a very long time. And so if she's stressed to the point of being willing to publicly talk about this, then you can best believe racism is stressful, right? But it's not only that racism is stressful, but that you can't out-earn racism. You can't out-achieve it. You can't outmaneuver it. You cannot just simply, wish it away. And I'm fully aware of that. And so here at Black Healing Matters, I'm not trying to negate the realities of racism. That's not at all my position. Rather, I'd like to submit to you that healing is not anyone's responsibility but ours, and that this healing process must be initiated by us, within us, and for ourselves. And that's why I really started this podcast in the first place, because I believe that our healing starts with first acknowledging our role in said healing process, which is first to understand who we are and what we're dealing with, to simply put words and feelings, acknowledgement, shed light on our issues and who we are, not just to wallow in them and repeat them and go over them and hash them and rehash them again and again, but so that we can begin to move forward, because we obviously can't change something that we don't know is broken. And many of us, we have our wounds that we carry, and we mask them, we put makeup on them, we dress them up, we try to cover them up so we can somehow get to a place where in our minds some of us believe that we can again out-achieve, out-earn, or somehow become better than our deepest wounds.
Hey, Danielle, this is Ruben over at the Reflections podcast. And I just want to thank you for sharing this topic on racism is stressful. As you were talking, I couldn't help but think about situations I've been in, scenarios I've been through that caused me a lot of stress. And even as I was reflecting and listening to your podcast, one of the stresses I've dealt with numerous times is trying to communicate the reality of racism. Because from what I've noticed, people who have not experienced racism or outside of the African American community or outside of communities of color struggle with understanding what is really going on and have a plethora of responses to negate what racism really is. But thank you so much for sharing this, and you take care.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.